Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to our Moravian Text Bible study. It's Wednesday, the 1st of April, and we are in Matthew 27, verse 32 to 44. The passage is called the Crucifixion, but I just want to focus today on one character in this story, a man named Simon of Cyrene. And I want to think a little bit about his life and his story from this passage and beyond, because I think it speaks into what's going on in our world today. So we know that Cyrene, if that's how you say it, is a place in North Africa, in Libya. So Simon, a devout Jew, he's got this Jewish name, Simon, a Hebrew name, and he's travelled the 800 plus miles with his family for the Passover festival. This would have been the pilgrimage of a lifetime. There'd been Jews in this part of Libya for 200 years at this time that the crucifixion takes place. There was a synagogue there. They could have had their Passover celebration there. But Simon has made the decision to travel extensively in order to celebrate the pilgrimage of a lifetime, I imagine, with his family in Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is heaving. This is no ordinary Passover. The temperature is high with all the political stuff that's going on and all the stuff that's going on with Jesus, his arrest, his trial, and his being sentenced to be crucified. Simon's brought his two boys. Mark records their names, Alexander and Rufus, and they would have been ceremonially pure for this celebration. Simon is going into Jerusalem to celebrate Passover, the sacrifice of a lamb, to remember the Exodus story, for the freedom of God's people. As Jesus goes in to celebrate Passover, he encounters Jesus being led out of the city as a Passover lamb. And what happens is the guards grab Simon. In a moment, Simon's plans become disrupted, derailed, cancelled. The Roman soldiers grab him and force him to take the crossbar that Jesus is carrying. And personally, I don't see this as a good Samaritan act. I don't see Simon as someone who volunteers to help a dying man. Rather, I see it as a disruption forced upon Simon. And remember yesterday's reading, Jesus had been stripped and beaten with rods and struck and flogged. Jesus was, dare I say, a bloody mess. He'd been horrifically tortured. And so this cross would have been covered in Jesus' precious blood. And so Simon, as he takes up the cross, he knows as a good devout Jew that this will defile him, that this will make him ceremonially unclean, that this will mean that he cannot celebrate the Passover this year because of the blood of Jesus on him. It's just so loaded with irony, isn't it? Of course, Simon and his sons, they simply did not understand the bigger story, what was really taking place in this moment, God's bigger salvation story being outworked. The impact of that disruption on Simon and his family was significant. Simon and his sons become woven into God's bigger story, his bigger plan, his redemptive plan. We know from history and hints in scripture that they became followers of Jesus. How could Simon have been touched by that precious blood and not in some way been transformed? But Paul talks about Rufus, the son of Simon, in Romans 16:13 as one of the leaders of the early house church movement. In Acts 11:20, it records how men from Cyrene preached the gospel to the Greeks, and tradition has it that it was these people. We live in a time of disruption, Our plans have been disrupted. They're not working out as we thought they would have been. But God is at work. We might not know his big story, but we know his redemption plan. It is always to bring heaven to earth, to reveal the unseen kingdom to those not yet part of his kingdom. And we can partner with that today. So I'd encourage you, whatever disruption you face, God is with you. God is in it. Let him redeem it.